So today we will discuss about in the previous lecture we have seen what are the different types of vrittis, and we know very well that these vrittis are both painful and non-painful, klesht and aklesht. Klesht are the vrittis which are going to create a trouble for your sadhana, and aklesht are the vrittis which will help you. Even though they are vrittis, they will assist you in the path of self-realization. So today we will see what is pramana. So yesterday or the previous lecture we have seen, it is pramana, viparya, vikalpa, nidra and smriti. So today we are going to discuss about pramana. So in the 7th sutra of Yoga Darshan, first chapter, Maharishi Patanjali explains pratyaksha, anuman, agamaha, pramanani. So pratyaksha is literally, the meaning of pratyaksha is which is presented in front of the eyes. That's why it is called pratyaksham kim pramana. So anything which is in front of the eyes, you don't need pramana of that. But in many cases you will see, even sometimes things which are in front of your eyes also, they can go wrong. Now anuman is an inference and agam is authentic or reliable testimony. So anything which is praman, or which is studied under the concept of praman or the right knowledge, it is of three types, what we understand from this sutra. The first type is called pratyaksh, which is in front of the eyes, anuman is inference, and agam is authentic and reliable testimony. So that direct perception through the senses is the first one. Inference and reliable testimony are the three pramanas. तो तीन प्रमाण कौन से हैं? तीन प्रमाण हैं प्रत्यक्ष, अनुमान करना, and then agam, that is related to the authentic and reliable testimony. So now we will see in detail about these three important parts. So facts of right knowledge, or the facts of right or the pure knowledge, is based on direct cognition. तो कोई भी चीज़ when you see directly from your eyes. Second is inference or testimony, and third is your by the reliable sources or the authentic testimony. So pramana, the knowledge, is we can understand into three parts. The pratyaksha is a direct knowledge which comes directly with the help of your indriyas, where your indriyas, all the indriyas involved, like I told you previously also, that from the eyes, directly in front of the eyes. So we know very well it is a very important indriya, sense of special sense it comes. Anuman is indirect knowledge. So it gives you the information about the subject. So it is anuman lagana, we say. And agam is a scripture. Agam is a scripture or testimony which is authenticated earlier by many pramanas. So that also is a pramana. So praman is also called as sense perception. So this is called as sense perception, means which can be understood or which are received with the help of the special senses, mainly your eyes or your ears, where you directly listen or see the object and then you decide that it is right or wrong. So where we can know something to be true or valid after experiencing it through our senses. So if you have experienced anything from your senses, that becomes a pratyaksha pramana. Now correct knowledge is based on three kinds of proof. Now we know what is right knowledge or pramana. Now it can be proved on three different aspects. The first is direct perception, that is pratyaksh, which we discussed earlier also. So directly when you see something or you listen about it, directly from a person or anything. So that is a direct perception. Second is correct inference or deduction. So correct inference or deduction or anuman. So after knowing the thing for a very long time, or after accumulating the proper knowledge, or after getting the correct information about the thing, we can definitely have a inference about that particular thing. So that is a anuman type of knowledge. Now testimony from the authoritative sacred scriptures or experienced persons. So testimony can be from a authoritative sacred scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Vedas, Upanishads, all the granthas what we have in our Indian philosophy. Those scriptures are basically, they are studied under Agam Shastra. So, and even a person who is experienced in this field, who knows, who has done the sadhana, who experiences all these things, also can become a Agam Pramana. So usually Pratyaksh is often understood as the direct perception. So Pratyaksh is, normally it is understood, Pratyaksh, the meaning of Pratyaksh is direct perception. So even though it is not direct, as the knowledge in this also goes through the eyes of the man to the chitta. So even though this is not a direct perception, we know very well कि ये सीधा प्रत्यक्ष नहीं है, क्योंकि to get this knowledge also it has to pass through your eyes, through your ears, through your other senses, and then finally reach the chitta. So still the role of your indriyas are there, because indriyas are involved with the other activities also based on the knowledge it receives. So even though it is having this thing, still it is called usually Pratyaksha Pramana. So only a true yogi can have a direct perception without involvement of the indriyas, and that is called yoga pratyaksha. So where you are in a deeper level of samadhi and you directly get connected with the Mahatattva or supreme intelligence, super intelligence, and you directly receive the knowledge from that intelligence, or the knowledge gained from the Vivek Gyan. When the discrimination has been cultivated and intelligence is full and bright, ego and mind is totally inhibited or stopped, and the chitta becomes sharp and clear. But the spiritual intelligence, which is true wisdom, dawns only when the discrimination ends. So when there is a Vivek Gyan, when there is a total direct perception, direct absorption of the knowledge, then that particular knowledge can be called as Pratyaksha Gyan. Now meaning of Pratyaksh is which is presented before the eye. So we all know very well what is the meaning of Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means which is seen from the eyes directly. And anything which is presented before the eyes will have dominance of sense organs. As I told you earlier, the sense organs, their imprints, their activities, manas and indriyas are always present in that perception. So always they will be influenced. The knowledge what you gain during this time is also influenced by these things. So direct perception by the way of any of the five senses or five sense organs like hearing, seeing, touch, taste and smell, and valid inference by themselves do not hinder one's progress. So they are accomplished if it is direct and if it is having a right path. So anuman is inference based on the previous knowledge or experience. Now after Pratyaksha, now we will come to anuman. So anuman is the inference which is based on the previous knowledge or the previous experience. Suppose you have done the sadhana, you have done the study. So based on your previous experience, you can have anuman, you can have an inference, and again it is of three types. So first is upaman. So upaman is also called as comparison. So for example, with your previous experience, upon seeing a wild ox in the forest, there arises the knowledge that this is like a cow. So your knowledge says, yes, this looks like very similar to the cow. The next is arthapati or presumption. For example, this person remains hefty. Suppose a person comes in front of you and you feel that this person remains hefty, but I have not seen him eating during the daytime. So there arises the knowledge this person must eat in the night. Andaja lagana. So you always have an inference, arthapati, that by seeing the thing you try to understand the or you try to think that this may be the reason for this. Now next is anuplabdhi, non-perception. For example, on the well-lit ground, because of not seeing a pot, there arises the knowledge that pot is not there. So once everything is clear in the ground and you are seeing that ground and you see that there is no pot in the ground, so naturally you will understand that because it is not uplabdh, it is not present there, so there is no pot on the ground. So these extra technical distinctions in the logic are simply included here in Patanjali's use of word anuman. So this three types of anuman is also explained here because this will make you more clear and this will make the understanding more better to understand the anuman pramana. Now the next thing what we are going to talk is agam. Agam is a testimony which has been handed over to us traditionally. So Vedas, Upanishads, your Bhagavad Gita and all the important granthas, yogi granthas, tantric granthas, Vedic granthas, everything, these are handed over to us by our senior seers and yogis, our ancestors. So that is called agam. So it is believed that it will be very reliable because it is already tested. If the person is knowledgeably relaying the scripture to you, then that is the passing along of the agam. So if you know that your forefathers were great saints or they were great learned people, so if something comes to you from them in the form of some scripture, so definitely you will rely on that and that will become a agam. तो हमारे पूर्वजों ने जो कुछ भी काम किया है वो चीज़ अगर आप तक पहुँचे इस जन्म में, चाहे वो भोजपत्र पे हो चाहे किसी भी चीज़ पर लिखा हुआ हो, तो इस ए आगम टाइप ऑफ प्रमाण. सो इफ Patanjali really meant simple verbal testimony here, then he could have used the much more generic term shabd or shabd gyan. So Patanjali was very clear that it has to be agam. He has not used shabd gyan. So shabd gyan means, suppose now I am talking to you and this same thing, if again you learn today and by the time you tell to the fifth person, there will be some modification in those words. Exactly same to same will not come. So there is a change in those words, there is a change in the meaning also. So that's why this cannot be considered properly as the agam. So agam has to be in a form of written thing and it has to be tested by our seniors or gurus and then it has to come to us. That only can be considered as agam, not the verbal thing. So instead he uses the term agam, which literally means that comes, and in practical usage usually means tradition or scripture, what has been handed over down from the beginning time and is not considered authored by a normal brain, not created by a specific human being. So we all know Vedas are not created by you and me. Yoga is also not created by you and me. Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, all these important scriptures are not created by a normal human brain. These are created by the great evolved souls. So we all know Bhagwan Vishnu or Bhagwan Shankar or any Devi Devtas. They have created us, we haven't created them. So whatever they have said, that is agam. That is the reality. No question about it, because whatever questions you have shows that you have the limitation, because your brain has not developed. Everybody knows physiologically we don't use our whole 100% of the brain. Maximum we use is 2 to 3%. So with that 2 to 3%, how can you understand the whole thing what is given in the past? So it is very important that agam has to be from the past sages and rishis. The agamas are these scriptures, the Vedas, which include Upanishads, but also are the later Puranas and Itihasas. So Puranas we know very well, 18 Puran, 18 Puranas are there. Itihas is your Ramayana, Mahabharata. Remember, it is not a myth. That's why don't never call your Indian system or Indian philosophies or Indian things as a mythology. It is not a mythology. People, those who call this mythology, actually they are myths. They are people, those who don't exist. They are wrong. These things have happened and we have to believe it. Because it happened some 5,000-10,000 years back, that doesn't mean that they don't exist. Because you don't have the brain to understand them, you don't have anything to prove them, doesn't mean they did not exist. So, all the Vedas, Upanishads, all the Itihasas, Puranas, everything comes under the Agam Shastra. So, this is very, very important to understand, because see, unless and until we go to this, we will not be able to understand what is Pramana. But those later text authorities only so much as they do not contradict the scriptures, especially concerning the topics of these Yoga Sutras, namely the nature of self, the Lord of Ishvara teaching, and teaching of Jnana, including Yoga. So, if you see all this text, they don't never contradict who is Ishvara, what is Jnana, what is Yoga, what is Atman. Almost everybody talks the same thing in a different language. To represent the Puranas and Itihasas, the Bhagavad Gita has been chosen because it is specifically held in the highest esteem regarding the teaching of Lord and Yoga. So today you may call anything that this exists or that exists or that is myth, that is this. But Bhagavad Gita is something which has happened some 5,000 years back. And we have the valid proof in Dwarka. We have Jagannath Puri, where Bhagwan Krishna is still present. So, even having a doubt on Krishna makes you imperfect to be called as a human, because without knowing him, how can you question him? First know him. If he doesn't answer, then you can say. So, Bhagavad Gita is the condensed form of all the Vedas, Upanishads and everything whatever is given in the past. So, and it is one of the best texts which explains about yoga. So the glossing over of Agam Pramana, meaning of knowledge, to mean simple verbal testimony, may imply and assert that whatever any yoga teacher says has to be taken as truth because they have said it. I am not a yoga teacher. There is a difference between a teacher and a guru. I am not a yoga teacher. So whatever your yoga teacher says does not mean that it is Agam Pramana. But whatever your guru says, that will be considered in the Agam Pramana. So this is just uncritical thinking and can steal your life away. Always be careful of those who say, just trust me and I know. Because wherever you go, everybody talks, just trust me, what I am telling is right. Not like that. It is not my knowledge. It is the knowledge given to us by our great ancestors. So only thing what I am doing today is I am just passing this knowledge from my little intellect what I have to you. So it is not my knowledge, so I cannot claim that I know or you follow me. So instead believe that Patanjali wished to explicitly establish from the start of the sutras the Pramana, the validity of the scripture. So Patanjali has provided the Pramana of this sutra or this scripture, which is critical authority with the regard of kaivalya, the knowledge of self and what is its helpful means. So Yog Darshan itself is a Pramana. Yog Darshan itself is a Pramana that it can give you the complete knowledge of yoga. It can give you the complete knowledge of Ashtanga Yoga, Kriya Yoga. It will give you the complete authentic knowledge of Vibhutis or Siddhis, what you can get by practicing Samyam. And it can give you the complete knowledge about Kaivalya. So this is one of the best Pramanas in Agam Shastra. So remember that anything which has to be right knowledge, which should come under the right knowledge, should have Pratyaksha, Anuman and Agam. And I think we have in detail discussed about it. So now let us go for the next sutra.